I will like to introduce you to architect Anil Sharma, who will make his keynote presentation over here.
Eat, drink, sleep, hospitals or hotels. That's why I think I got the size. That's the collateral damage that happens when you deal with chefs. So, yes, I started my career in 81. I graduated. In 89 was the first hotel project which I signed. There was the Holiday in Pune. Way back, 93 it opened. So that was adjudged as the best new hotel of the year in Asia Pacific region by Holiday Inn, the Bass Hospitality. So since then it was like hotels, and I was only involved with them. Now I think more than 100 hotels my office is built all around. My basic concept has been all these brands. Like this is what I was talking to somebody in the morning. When these brands came, they approach any owner who approaches a brand, they only give the list of some architects from Dubai, from Singapore, from Hong Kong, from this and that, even for a small 3-star or a Fairfield kind of hotel. And then I have seen very senior architects also, even those days, which were my contemporary, 91, they were big dads and they were ready to work with those international architects as second, at number 2, or as the brands would call it, architects on record. I refuse to do that. I said nothing doing. If an architect, one has to have respect for his profession. So if an architect has to be hired, it is not only just the concept and design. Architecture is far beyond that. It is hand-holding, it is taking the project all the way through and being responsible to what you did. There's liability, there's a lot of things involved with it. So how can somebody just sitting somewhere in a Dubai office, design something and get away with it? And that's what was happening. But we refuse to do that. Luckily, although we started with very smaller 3-star Fairfield and blah, blah, blah. But now our office is busy. I mean, they have no objection. They can't give our names in any case, but they have no objection. Even if we are doing a JW Marriott or a Taj or whatever that we are doing, they don't object to it. And our office has been lucky to do the main brands like Grand Hyatt and Hyatts and Sheratons completely on our own strength. Okay, so now as Kozim had asked me to share something, over these years, I will first give you a little small presentation on what a hotel is all about, which is a culmination of how I went through the rigmarole, the exercise and learning and struggling and listening and finally being able to make a head and tail out of it and where and how things were going wrong. And it's just a very small little presentation. And after that, I'll give you one of the projects. They said you should give us a presentation on one of your projects which has been done. So I'll give you a presentation on Marriott Kathmandu, which opened recently. It is doing phenomenally well there. It's one of the better properties, although in a very tight site. So I'll give you that presentation. Okay, so this is something which I give it to each and every client of mine who comes to me for the first time. Now, what actually happens is that there's people from the brand also here. And the brand has 2 teams. One is a technical services team, the other is a development team. The development team goes to an owner saying, oh, you want to do a Radisson hotel? Fine, we want to do a Radisson hotel. I can do your hotel in 50 lakh rupees a room or 60 lakh rupees a room. Fine. So he goes up, owner very smartly, a builder or somebody, okay, 50 lakhs. This guy is saying 50 lakhs. Now, the brand themselves, comparable, say, okay, Courtyard I can do in 60 lakhs. He says, I can do in 55 lakhs. Somebody says 65 lakhs. All these. So, owner says somewhere between, he draws a line, somewhere between 55 to 65. Then he says, I'm a builder. I'm much smarter than them. These guys are only hoteliers. How do they know? I will do it in 50 lakhs only. So, he starts with 200 room, 100 crore budget. And he goes to the brand. Brand gives him a list that this is the architect from 2 from Dubai, 2 from Hong Kong, 3 from Singapore, 2 from Bangkok, select anyone. So owners finally, he says, oh fine, I don't care. I mean, they are saying 100 crore, I can do it in 95, 90, whatever. So he goes, selects this international architect who goes and gives him a fabulous 3D presentations, fantastic renderings, walkthroughs, whatever, and the owner comes back, starts the project. Initially, he has all the money because initially, whatever that money is already there with him. RCC costs only about 800 rupees a square foot. It's very small. So by the time he comes up to the service floor level, The PMC has moved in. The interior design has moved in, all recommended by the brand and by other people who were. And also, local architect has been hired. The construction is on. Facility planners are on. Landscape is on. Lighting is on. Blah, blah, blah. When their budgets start coming in, the details start coming in. Suddenly, the project which the brand initially told him would get finished in 100 crore is already 200 crore. Quite a few projects have got stuck this way because they have no idea how and why it went wrong. I mean, I have been involved in 3-4 projects. They've called me and I have had to demolish concrete worth about 20-30 crores to make it work. There are projects which we've done, 3-4 of them, and there are some projects which could just not be converted. They had to be demolished in the beginning to make it into a viable proposition. It's not that those designs were bad. It's not that those designs were not wrong. They were fantastic designs. They were good designs. They were everything. But they were absolutely unviable for that cost because somebody started with 100 crore. You cannot do a Burj Al Arab in Jalandhar. You need to do a Burj Al Arab, you need Dubai only. So when these kind of projects start getting built, then everything goes wrong. That's what was making the hotel industry go wrong. So this is a little presentation which I gave to everyone where what exactly is all about. Now there's a big fraud happening even by the government of India or this star, 5-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. All that is again a complete misnomer. So my thing starts with star rating is a complete misnomer. A 25 room, 250 square feet, 25 room property with 250 square feet room size can be rated as 5-star. While a 35 room, 120 room property will be given a 3-star. So this is like a complete, the government of India, Department of Tourism, they have got their whole concepts completely wrong. But brands are smart. They have understood their game very well. They know what the hotels are about. And internationally, hotel is a much more mature market than in India. So, first of all, we have to understand, this is what I tell to every owner, that star rating is a misnomer. So then what are the types of hotels? Hotel types are primarily 3. First is bed and breakfast. Something like Ginger that came up with, or Holiday Inn Express, or Fairfield, or Hampton Inn. There are those husband-wife hotel, bed and breakfast. They were like motels all over the US and Europe, out of the town. No service, nothing. Just take the room and go away, and cold breakfast will be served. That's the kind of hotel that is. But then the limited service, Fairfield, and in fact, I would say Park-In by Marriott. They tried to Park-In by Radisson. They tried to add some service, full restaurant, little meeting rooms, and everything. So there was a limited service hotel. Then there was a full service hotel. So there were only these 3 types in the full service: budget, mid-market, and luxury. Now, budget is a 3-star like a Holiday Inn. I would call Holiday Inn a 3-star property, which is actually being rated by the most of the departments for tourism as 5-star deluxe, whatever 5-star properties. But we would call it a budget property, then a mid-market, which is like a Hyatt Regency. Then we would call a luxury, which is like Grand Hyatt, JW Marriott's, and blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, after that, there is a super luxury, which is like St. Regis, and you have all the other Burj Al Arab and Burj Khalifa, whatever you call them. There are all kind of other properties which are exceptions, which are not a general hotel category. And for all the above, the most important thing is the net room area, which is, it's not working. So 19 square meter for say bed and breakfast, and then the GFA. Now this is the crux. GFA is gross floor area. What it means is that, say if I want to do 100 square rooms of Holiday Inn Express, my gross floor area should not exceed 500 square meters. In 50,000 square feet, I should be able to do 100 rooms. Similarly, like a Holiday Inn, a 3-star, I should not exceed 800 for 1,000 room, more than 80,000 square feet or 90,000 square feet. Now, up to 100 rooms, these things go a little haywire because sometimes the public areas are more, proportions change depending on the market requirements. So, but this is the range it works in. And one should be looking at something like 200 room property because that's where the hotel break even starts. So 200 plus. But if the room counts come down, your public areas remain higher. So this GFA will slightly change, but not to that extent. Now, so all this, again, is mentioned. For all this, most important factor is the net room area and the gross floor area. It translates to total built-up area per floor. Now, the basic, I've also seen that some people got these designs done. They have no idea what GFA, what will comprise of GFA. So most of the time, the clients have seen the pros architects who designed something, and this our area is within your GFA. But the guy had not even thought of the back of the house areas. To run a hotel of 100 room, you need about staff about 200, 250 plus. So there is so much needed for them and engineering areas. If you calculate your GFA only on your public areas, then your GFA will go wrong because it will increase by 25%. So the more important factor is the components of a GFA. GFA is, hotel has 4 components only. Basically, guest rooms, public areas, back of the house spaces and engineering areas. Generally, back of the house is about 15 to 20%. Mid-market is about that range and another 5-7% there. So another 25% has to be added if the guy has not considered that in the beginning. And every time you add those areas, the cost goes haywire. Because hotel is hotel cost of anything, architectural cost, cannot be per room. It has to be per square foot. Whoever gives this figure of 50 lakh per room or 75 lakh per room is again completely misleading and everybody gets misled. Cost is always per square foot. Now, cost per room or cost per bay, I would call it not the room because sometimes the bays are more than the cost per bay is typically used to calculate your viability. If you complete a hotel, say a room of 60 lakh per room, you should be getting about 6,000 ARR at 60% occupancies, then you break even. That's where you use it, only to judge your viability, but not to set up your project cost. For setting up, only work with per square foot cost. And hotels are the most expensive building types to build. Most expensive building. All other buildings, including hospitals, nothing comes compared to this hotels. So, hotels have to be conceived on the basis of square inches, not even a square foot. But here we are designing in square meters. So many square meters are being spent only to achieve your look and feel. That's where everything goes wrong. So the cost of a hotel, this is like 3-4 years old, but still relevant, is not less than 6,000 rupees a square foot. That's purely the cost of the building. Everybody asks me where things go wrong, where the cost, how will the cost, every builder will say, I can finish this, I can finish this, but you can do nothing less than 6,000. And it's the breakup, flat breakup. And there is no difference between 3, 4 and 5 star, not much of a difference. Engineering remains the same, architecture remains the same, only your interior and some kitchen equipments will go up, otherwise the per square foot cost will remain the same. It doesn't change. But when you approach these brands, they will say 1.2 crore per room for a bigger, 60 lakh per room for this. Why? Because the GFA was a critical factor. So the GFA is something which is the most, and 6,000 is only on the building. We can do a housing in about 1,800, 2,000 rupees a square foot. We can do offices 2,500 rupees a square foot. Hotels goes up to 7,000. It's actually not 7,000, it is 10,000 because when you add the cost of PMCs, all consultants, approvals, fees to all other brands and blah, 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 and interest during construction, it goes up to 10,000. And parking, because this cost does not include the parking. Okay, so this is the basic fundamental of the project cost. They have to be, and it goes up to 10,000. So it is the most complicated project to design. One has to be very, very careful. And that's when the things were going wrong. The brands the international guys were doing it. They did not care about the GFA. They designed fabulous project, 100 rooms in 2 lakh square feet for a Holiday Inn. will completely kill the project all the way through. So projects have to be considered and designed that way. We have been able to luckily survive because we stuck to our guns, and most of the hotels that we have designed have luckily been successful hotels because they earn the money for their owners. And if they earn the money for the owners, because if your capital cost is controlled, if you work within the budgets, you will achieve a good product. That's the fundamental that we did. Okay, now I'll give you a little concept of a hotel which we designed in Kathmandu. Tell you this project, when it came to us, it was like the site was kind of not acceptable to the brand. The owner had already had a hotel which was Fairfield, which is building, which was about getting ready, and he wanted to bought this site because they were all around. It looks very nice in the rendering. This was the original rendering because all this is shown as a green all around. But there were slums in the middle of the town in a Nagpokuri area where everything, when you could just not look out from the side, there were all slums all around. So we were like very apprehensive how to, and it had a very narrow neck to come in. So, and the owners wanted a big banquet, everything. So we were like, but we were able to come up with a nice design for this. So this is the site in the completely giving you the location. Nagpokri area, I don't know how many are familiar with it, but if you look at the site there, it is very small, 1.35 acre, and they want to do about 200 room plus. So, but the moment at this site in Kathmandu, because Nepal, it's a valley, the moment you go higher, all your views become absolutely fantastic. And all those housing which was below was only about 9 meter, 10 meter height. We had to only take care of our public areas, but the moment it went up to the rooms, it became a very pleasant view for everyone. So this is the kind of project we decided to keep it. This is what we tried in terms of blocking. Entrance was a nice arrival experience, but when we approached, my biggest concern was how to stop it. So that screen, and we created a very nice courtyard. Banquet had to be such that it is not above the tower because banquet spans are much bigger, and generally banquets are always kept outside the tower area. And we want to keep our pool also on top of the banquet, and we want to create a very interesting environment for the arrival experience. Of course, we did all the, like everybody, this was a typical requirement for coming up. This was a platinum rated green building. That's a minimum requirement that they asked for the hotel to be. So what we were working on is, his idea was that when you arrive from the lobby, you need large glasses because Nepal, Kathmandu, outdoors, weather, everything throughout the year is very nice. So one should be able to come out and get more spaces outside. So outside has to be kind of inside merging, but the views have to be blocked. So when the guy comes in, he has to get the arrival experience and the feeling of that. So this is what we tried to do. It's not showing. Okay. This is the arrival lobby. As you come in, we have created a deck here. This was a bar deck and the pool on the top, and a huge water body because it's not, pointer is not working on this. So anyway, so this was the whole concept in terms of section. So we looked at it section this way. So this is the arrival experience, and then we, in the courtyard, we actually took the ground all the way up. So one could walk from there to the first floor deck in that courtyard. So that's the deck of this bar. So you could actually walk all the way up in. So the ground means the first floor. So you can actually have a full from the ground without using your elevators, without going inside. And we created a very celebratory stuff there with a stage and a bar below it. So you can walk around. There's a ramp and step put together in the landscape, which actually acted as a screen and blocked all those bad views. So this became a very inward looking design for the public areas. And everybody sits now outside in this during the breakfast time, during the lunch time, and during the evenings. This becomes the most happening place. And then that whole 3-story, that whole 9 meter waterfall, which is the filtration overflow of the swimming pool coming all the way down. So this is the plan, entrance, arrival experience, lobby, little water body, all that is the courtyard, the ground thing, the banquet out there. Now this courtyard and a little lawn there kind of works well with the banqueting also through the pre-function. And only one kitchen serving the idea is because one kitchen in a hotel costs more than a crore plus because all that goes on. So one has to try to keep one single kitchen serving all your outlets. So this one is, unless you have special restaurants. So this one is serving the coffee shop and the banquet area completely. And that other green outside there, which was another look that they got, was the al fresco outdoor restaurant, completely inward looking, accessible from the coffee shop itself. And these are the views of the porch, the central courtyard, the pre-function area. Pre-function was kind of cockeyed mid-taper. And through that water body, there's natural light coming in even everywhere. So entire pre-function, entire banquet got enough natural light everywhere. This is the kind of look and feel, lobby, large glasses, and the entire up to the third floor, we have a ventilated skin to keep the, and then we have done the thermocol plaster outside on the upper floors, the white area. So it's a fully insulated wall, 0.43 U value we're getting in there. Upper floor plans. This is the upper deck of the bar. You can actually walk from the entrance lobby all the way up to the bar without going to the elevators. Okay, these are the few, this thing, there's a Pan-Asian restaurant on top with a terrace. And then, of course, there is a casino on top. Casino has got its own direct entrance, everything separately worked out. Right above the lobby is the casino. And direct access from the basement. Everybody goes there, direct from outside the street, access there. So, first 3 floors are all public areas. There's health club, there's meeting rooms and party rooms where you actually do not need the view outside. So, after this, for the first 3 floors, which is about 15 meter plus another 3 meters for service floor, the first guest floor starts after 20 meter height. So, from every room, your view is only those hills. So, you don't see anything wrong happening because on the side of the hotel, once you're inside the hotel. These are the upper floor plans. And this idea was to give an infinity edge pool. That whole water was falling all the way down into the pool area, in the bar area, and you could actually see the hills all around. So that's the kind of pool that was created. So completely oblivious of all the ugly slum development outside. You are on a higher platform, higher pedestal, and you only see the skies and the hills and the snow-clad mountains. And then the topmost floor was the executive lounge, which has the 360-degree view. And you could see the entire panorama of Kathmandu from this lounge. Meeting rooms is one of the most popular lounges there. So this is the project. Back of the house areas, there was only 2 basements. A lot of parking on the upper floor section. And we had actually, because we could not dig so much more, so the lower basement is smaller in the print than the bigger basement because we wanted to keep the shoring cost lower. Now this is the ultimate, like this is how it works out. Our GFA for a 35 square meter room, which is supposed to be 100 square meter, we have been able to do such an efficient product at 91 square meter per room. When I talked about GFA for a Marriott cannot be less than 98, it cannot be less than 100. But we were able to achieve it in 91. That's something which was absolutely cost effective, and that's how the hotel is doing well. And it gives you the percentages of all the areas. Guest room was 60%. Public areas were 21. We had a banquet over 7,000 square feet. With pre-function everything, 10,000. With the banquet, we were able to achieve these GFAs, and that's how this hotel is being able to survive in the market. As on date, you name it, everybody who the visiting head of any country comes and stays in this hotel only. And it's right now, it's one of the most roaring success in the this thing. Some of the views, the black is all vitrified tile, dry cladding with this thing and ventilated skin with insulation. Top is all polymer plaster with polyurethane foam finishing. That's the courtyard there. And our lobby experience, pool bar, various areas from the lobby. When you come in, you actually get this. You don't feel that you are in such a small plot. It's much larger than what it's supposed to be because of the step section that goes in. Typical photographs of the property. This is that big, huge waterfall. All right. Thank you very much. Any questions anybody has?